Okay guys, this is our Mod 6 conductor pulling. So these are two different styles of fish tape. This is our metal fish tape. They pull out this way. You got to reel them back in this way, okay? This is our metal one. This is what's called a fiberglass tape. You see how it's non-conductive? So, you know, they say if you have circuits where you cannot turn them off, you have to use a conductive fish tape. I myself just turn them off no matter what it takes because you don't want nothing in the pipe. So what we will do here is we're going to turn around, you're going to unroll your tape for what you need. And then we're going to install it in our raceway. So you get the tape in the raceway. Get it down. Now we're on the other end of our conduit. Okay, so now we pull it out. Okay, good. Okay, now that we've installed our fish tape in our raceway, we're going to pull our conductors. So let's say we have these 4 conductors we're going to be pulling into the pipe. So first thing you want to do is take them, usually get rid of the ends that are bad, cut them. Now, when you're doing this, you don't need to wrap all the conductors around the fish tape because that just creates a bigger head on the end of it. So you can get away with just normally stripping just a couple and then taping the rest to it. So what we're going to do is you're going to take the tube, wrap it around here, get our thing, and then you could take these and just tape these together because if you wrapped them all, you'd create a big head basically to try to pull through the pipe. You don't want to do that. So we're going to turn around, tape it up. Now you see how this is? You got to make sure we tape this up too because you don't want it catching on anything in the raceway. So you're going to squeeze them together, tape, and you're going to put a good thing of tape on here. You see how much tape I'm putting to make sure he don't open up? Then I'm going to come back down. Tape down, get these all together, and then I'm going to do what's called, we call it a little safety about back here, just in case these want to pull out. We put a second little piece on, we call it a safety. Okay, now we're ready to pull. We got to turn around, get it in, get our conductors in, and now we'll turn around and pulling is usually a 2-person job because you cannot just sit and pull without someone feeding the wires into the conduit. Otherwise, they'll get cut and nicked, okay? So we turn around and once you start pulling, just stay on that. Just pull the raceway in. You see them come in and see how they're getting caught. That's how they won't let you. You always have to have someone on each end feeding, okay? That you would just sit. All this guy's doing is just sitting and feeding the wires in. He can't push, he can't do anything. He just makes sure nothing's getting caught as the wires are going in. Once they reach the other side, you're done. Turn around, cut them, and you start again. Okay, once we're done with the fish tape, you're gonna have to put it away. You're gonna hold the center. You're gonna hold your handle and twist the center in. That's the only way it comes in. So you got to turn around, put the fish tape away. You got to be careful because the end will turn around and start flinging around, try to hit you in the eye. So be careful with it. See how it's whipping around? Then your tape's done and put away. Okay, when pulling larger conductors, guys, we got to strip the ends of your conductors out. So you got to take them, get them stripped out. Take it back, and then we turn around and take 3-4 strands per conductor. So we'll take these, you take them, and then you're going to cut the rest off. Because what you're doing is you don't want to, again, create a big head inside the front of the pipe. So we're going to cut it off. And you're going to get all 3 wires with about that much. Okay. And now that we have all of our conductors stripped out, you're going to take the ends of them, twist them back together, and basically get yourself one good head, one good conductor. So now these are all tied together. So now we could either wrap these around a rope like that, you know, the rope through it, the rope through, which we'll do that at CED, we're going to show you, and tape it, or we could do this through a sock, okay? Now if we're going to put them in a sock, I'm going to show you how we got to do that. So what we're doing to prepare our wires for the sock now is, you've seen how I'm taping this in. This is just so it slides into the sock easy. Same with, see how I taped this wire so it fits in? Then we can take them into our sock. They'll fit right in there like that. You're going to turn around and bring the wires out of the top. Okay, so you want to turn around and bring these wires outside of the sock. Get your sock wrapped around. See how this is getting caught? This is why you have to tape it, because if you didn't, you'd never get it on. Okay, so see how we have our wires? Now we have our wires in our sock. But what you want to do with this is take your wire, bend it through your sock, the same place your rope would go in, and make sure you tape up and around. Because the difference is just without doing this wrap through here, this sock, I've had these let go without doing this, okay? And it's a pain in the butt when the wires pulled so hard into the conduit that you couldn't get that, it took the sock off. So by doing this, then you take this, you're gonna get your channels, tighten it, and tape all this up. So then you not only have the sock holding it, you also have this connection holding your feeder in too. Okay? Okay. Okay, here now, turn that back on. Okay, after you pulled your wires in and you want to get your sock off, there's no way it comes off this way. You have to come from this end, push, and the socks will come right off. Okay? This way, man, they'll never let go. Anytime you want to get it off, you got to push from the bottom. It finally lets loose and it'll slide right off. Okay? Okay, guys, this is for modulate conductor splicing and terminations. Okay? So today we're going to turn around and put together, this is called the split bolt kerning. So when you need to do wires, I could either go like this together, hook them that way in, or we can still turn around and hook them this way together too, okay? So we're gonna turn around, you get it, you snug it with that, then you're gonna have to take your channel locks and tighten this thing into place. Now, anytime you guys are doing splicing, you gotta remember, your terminations are everything for electrical. It's never gonna fail in the middle of the wire, it's always gonna fail at the termination itself, okay? So, turn around, got to get it tight. Okay. See our connection now. See how nice and tight that is? Now you have to turn around and insulate this, because this is all open power. This is called linerless rubber tape, okay? This is gonna remind you of your bicycle tire. Here, feel it. Remember your tire on your bicycle? Doesn't it feel just like that? Okay, so the rubber tape, you're gonna take your rubber tape and you're gonna have to wrap basically around this and insulate this whole thing. So there's no kind of method to the madness other than just wrap, and you got to put a layer of insulation around this equal to or better than what the conductor has. Okay? So you got to figure, if I'm going to splice it, I'm going to make sure I have way more than the conductor itself. Okay? So you're going to turn around and you're going to just keep wrapping all different directions and ways. You want to make sure this thing is completely covered. And it doesn't matter to stretch that out a little bit when you're doing it. And especially you don't want to feel any points of this, any sharp points like on the edge. You could still kind of feel that pretty good. That means for what it's worth, let's wrap a couple more on it just to make sure. Because all of these are going to be spliced in that ground or in that vault or in a cabinet, in a box for God knows how long. So you got to make sure that termination will last basically a lifetime, the lifetime of the conductor itself, okay? So that's a pretty good wrap on that we got right there. So let's go one more across the top. Okay. So you now feel. So you don't feel much. See, you can feel the ends a little bit. So now when we're done with the rubberless, we still have to take our normal tape and wrap the rubber on top of the normal tape. So we're going to turn around, take it. Now we're going to take our normal tape and wrap it around over the rubber, okay? Because the rubber is just our main insulator. This is another form of insulation, which you could use this too by itself, but you'd have to use a lot more. You'd basically use this whole roll of tape just to make this one splice covering. And it doesn't hurt to come back this way a little bit too, just in case. But I want to keep wrapping this till everything's covered 100%. That there's no part of this conductor that's left, or rubber from the original rubber around. Okay. Now feel now. See how you don't put your hand on there. You feel how smooth all the edges are.
Yeah.
It's rigid. Okay, so let's cut this open and we'll see how thick our jacket is, because you see how thick the insulation is on the wire. You know what I'm saying? So let's turn around. Let's see how we ended up for our splice. See that? See how thick? So you know we were covered plenty. Could have did the ends more, okay? But you see around the main bolt area, we definitely had our minimum insulation requirement met. Okay, this is what we call a hydraulic butt splice. This is, it was turned around and hydraulically crimped. You see the crimp. Now these crimps, they have to use the exact size crimp for the size of wire you're crimping. So you have to, like if this is a number 2, you have to use a number 2 splicer, period. There's no mixing and matching these, okay? So once you've crimped it on, we're gonna have to do the same thing. These don't use as much tape for our insulation, but we're gonna start with our rubber tape. We're gonna have to wrap it. Again, we're going to do the same thing. This is what we normally splice in all of our vaults. We're going to use a hydraulic crimp, which the wire don't roll, so I'd really have to do it this way because the wires are solid all the way through. But if I just tape back and forth, maybe 2-3 times at the most, you could already see how thick my insulation jacket is on there. You know what I'm saying? So we'll turn around and do this one tight. Get it nice and tight. Okay, so there's our rubber. Notice we don't need as much rubber for a hydraulic crimp, but you see how thick it is. The distance on how thick that's coming out. So once we're done with that, again, we're going to have to tape it with our normal tape. Start back farther, protect the tape, Turn around. Back and forth once or twice for this. Well, at least twice. You don't want to go once. These 2 layers each direction, go out about 1 inch farther than the splice. Keep it nice and tight every wrap, your tape. Okay. Now you can see how much thicker than the wire our splice is. Okay, let's cut it open and see how it looks. Okay, turn around. Again, look at how thick now our jacket is compared to the jacket just of the insulation itself. So you see the thickness of the original insulation. We have to do equal or better. You always do better, never do less. Okay guys, we're here at CED now. We got their hydraulic crimper. We got a crimp sleeve, and again, this is 1/0 wire, so you have to get exactly a 1/0 crimp sleeve. See how snug and tight that fits in there? It has to be just perfect. You got to get it in, squeeze it in. Okay, now we're going to take our crimping device, get it in there. You got to crimp each side one at a time. So, down. Turn around and get it in there. Okay, that's done. Got to turn around now, squeeze the handle, release it. You see now we've crimped our one side. Okay, now turn around, you got to crimp your other side. Get it in your crimper. A lot of the times you'll have to pull this apart and load it that way because your wires aren't short like this. Turn around, get it set up. Make sure you're straight. Turn around, bring it together. Okay, so we're crimping it together. And right about there, we're good. Again, pull the handle down, release. Now we're crimped together. Now you see how I went on the money on that one, but I missed him a little bit. He should have been a little bit more on the outside, so you really have to pay attention to where your crimps are on this. Then after this, we use our rubber tape, then our tape on top. Okay, this is our panel board mounted, courtesy of CED, CED's tugger. I'm going to teach you guys how to rig and pull the tugger today. So first thing we have to do is take the guts out of the tugger, out of the panel board. So we got to take the cover off. Now these panel boards are mounted or designed where all the guts can be taken out. Okay, so let me grab another wrench. So first thing we're going to do is remove all the guts so we can pull our feeder in. So we're taking all these out. Again, A, B, and C, same setup. Notice how all panel boards have to be mounted to the top. It says this end up. It's required. Put everything inside the box. Remove the guts, and now we have our board itself ready to install our feeders. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna do an overhead feeder and an underground feeder installation. We'll do the overhead first. So what we have to do is, overhead we have a 3-inch conduit feeding in. So we're gonna take our 3-inch hub out of our, that's a 3.5. And these need to come out because these are used on the feeder. So we need to find our 3-inch hub. Now these are the different ones. These are the ones designed to stick down inside the PVC pipe for ground mounts. That's why they're designed just with the tube like that. See how they're slotted so when the wire comes in it won't grab. This is for 2.5. And this is probably our 3-inch. So here's our 3-inch hub. Okay, so 3-inch. So we're going to take our 3-inch hub, screw it to our panel box. Up. So now we're on that way. Then we take this piece with these, and this slides on like this into there. Screw these on. What's going on there? Unless these aren't used for that. There we go. Tighten that down. Get our other one in. This one's fighting me for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, so now we have our piece mounted on the 3-inch, and that's what we hook this to, okay? So now we have to turn around. You're definitely gonna have help with this. We have to take the bolt out of the bottom of our tugger, this bolt, so the tugger will be able to go up into the air. So go ahead and pop that out, Chris.
Wiggle. Go up and down. Something.
Okay, so now we bring the tugger. We have to bring it in. Here, come here and help me with this. And this is going to mount like this through Okay, so now you see you see now you're not holding the tugger. No one's holding anything. The panel board's holding it up. Everything is mounted to the panel itself. So all the pressure, everything, you're not holding it, trying to fight it. It just does itself. Okay? So the rope, do we have rope?
Yeah, right there.
We got a real rope, Chris?
This is all we got. They took the
We're missing
rope.
our large size rope today, so we're gonna play with the baby rope today. Okay, guys? So your rope would be coming down through your conduit normally. So your rope would come down across the tugger, underneath, and wrapped around our caspin. Yeah, this ain't even tight. CED keeps loaning out this tugger to people who don't deserve to use it, in my opinion, because they don't know how to take care of stuff. So they should really think about letting people use their stuff. Okay, so I'm going to take our rope underneath this caspin, since we have an underground pull from overhead, wrap the wire around our caspin, through and across. So now again, on our tugger, here's our box. This is the one with the gauge that says our pulling force. The tugger motor plugs into this box. Then that goes our pulling force, shows how much force we're pulling. This is what, a 6,000 or a 4,000? Looks like it's a 6. It says 6,001. Tugger. The strength on it.
It'll pull some heavy stuff.
Oh, you know it'll pull, I guarantee it. 6,500 pounds. Okay, so I want you guys to hear the sound of this thing. This is when we were talking about earlier about communications in the pool. Because when this thing's running, it's loud, okay? Listen to it when it runs, okay? And you can watch. You see how it just gradually pulls the wire? And all you do is just pull on it. You see the speed it pulls. So that's how fast the wire is going to be feeding in to the conduit. Okay, now I want to show you guys, it's pretty much the same for an underground pool, but let's just show you how you set it up anyhow. Okay, we're going to take this apart. Okay, for our underground feeder, this is a 2.5 inch, so we got to get our 2.5 inch sleeve, and it's pretty much the exact same thing. You're gonna turn around, screw your sleeve on, make sure it's nice and tight, or get it as tight as you can. Do the same thing with your piece you screw onto here, just like that. Same story, pieces going in, holding it all together. Now if you notice, this whole thing is being held, all the pressure is being held by the panel. You know, you're not sitting there fighting anything or dealing with anything. Now, one thing we have to do with the difference between the overhead pool, we have to spin this around. So let's grab the channels, loosen that up, right in the center of the, yep, nope, the other one right next to him. Go ahead and loosen that bolt. Okay, so now all we're doing now is we got to spin this around for an underground pool. So being it's underground pool, we're going to aim it down. Okay, go ahead and tighten it back up. Gotta flip those around technically. Okay, so we're going to do the same exact story that we just did on the other one. Okay, let's get ready. We got to go ahead and slide the bolt out. Wait, stop. Go ahead, you on. If you notice, there's two bolts here. You have to take the bottom one out because we have it halfway in, but go ahead and take it out, Chris. So you have to take it out to get your adjustments that we want to do on this. So now we're going to turn around and get this set up. Okay, so now we're in.
And the nut's right there.
Turn around, get the nut on it. And the same thing, our rope would be coming in. Your rope would be in before you set all this up. Your rope would already be pulled. Now your rope's coming over the top. So the difference is your rope's gonna come over the top. Your wheel spins when you got enough pressure on it. You're gonna come over to here, and it's gonna be the same thing. Wrapped around, you're casping, and through. Pretty much the exact same story. See, no, you know why?
Doesn't matter.
No, there's an issue. This is mounted in the wrong spot. This sits right here. So again, whoever's touching your tugger, it ain't doing it right.
Yeah.
This motor belongs center of this. So we're gonna have to unloosen this and put it right back when we're done. Whoever used it last didn't know what they're doing. I come across this all the time. So it's gonna be the same story, guys. You're gonna turn around, get your motor pulling, squeeze itself. same story. Just make sure when you're done, you clean up everything right, put it all away, take care of your equipment. That's what matters. And remember, you're not holding or doing anything. It's all held by the panel and the pipes. All right, guys, that's it.